these people don't have to pay their loans back. Well, what a Republican would tell you is this money doesn't just disappear, right? This is money that was loaned by the government, effectively by taxpayers. If they don't pay it back, that's on you. That's on Joe taxpayer. That's part of the national debt now. This debt has not been repaid. So that's their big thing. The other thing is that he's doing this on his own, no congressional approval. That's really where the lawsuits are coming from. The president cannot do this on his own. He can't spend money. The Constitution is very clear. Only Congress can spend money.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by White House reporter Haisten and Willis. Haisten, the big headlines this week have been about the campus protests against the Israeli war in Gaza. President Biden has spoken out about these protests, which have disrupted campus life at a lot of different institutions of higher learning. What did the president have to say?
Well, he's spoken out now. The big story at the White House for several days was that he had really not spoken out. There were a lot of questions in the briefing room coming from reporters from both sides of the angle, saying, well, what does Biden really think about this? Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, is kind of doing the best she could, saying we condemn anti-Semitism, but we also believe in free speech. And people are trying to nail it down. Well, does he think what these people are doing is right? Does he support them? Fox News' Peter Doocy said Biden had been MIA on the issue. So then Biden comes out and he did. He spoke. Really said a lot of the same things as the press secretary had said, but of course it's very different when the actual president makes his statement. So he said kind of the same thing. Like I said, we support free speech. Protest is very important to America, but breaking into a building is not free speech. That's not legal, right? Taking over a campus, being violent, that's not okay. He said, anti-Semitism, of course, is wrong, and he also threw in that Islamophobia and discrimination against Palestinians is also wrong. So kind of equivocating a little bit on that. Again, not really taking a side as far as other protesters, is their cause correct, but saying that violence is not okay. There's been a lot of, like you said, a lot of stories about this and a lot of kind of scary footage of different things happening throughout the country.
Right, and so Biden has kind of been trying to thread the needle on this whole conflict for a while now. He has supporters who obviously are fairly sympathetic to things like the protests, but he also has supporters who are very supportive of Israel. Definitely.
Yeah, that's something he's trying to, just like I think you said, thread the needle. Yeah, these people who are protesting, I think, are more on the liberal side, right? They're more likely to be Biden voters. And so he is trying to kind of thread that needle about saying he supports protest, saying he's against Islamophobia and that kind of thing. And that's where Republicans are trying to really hammer him and kind of drive a wedge there. I know the RNC's already sent something out saying that Biden's doing like a both sidesism thing. He wants to kind of be in the middle of the road, doesn't want to condemn what they're calling anti-Semitic protests. So that's his sort of challenge is to make that work. So he's sticking with the line of for now, free speech is great, protest is great, it's part of the American tradition, just don't break into a building and smash windows and things like that.
So while all this college campus stuff is really in the news, Biden has launched a new student loan forgiveness push. Tell us a little bit about what his plan is.
He's been doing several of these. It's really what his plans are. There's so many of them. He had the one that he did in 2022, announced it pretty close to the midterms, ended up being struck down. He has one called the SAVE plan that's being challenged in court now by a number of Republican officials that actually focuses more on future payments, that you wouldn't have to repay your loan in full for the most part. He has another one he's been working on through the Department of Education. It kind of gets down in the weeds, but there's this whole regulatory process he has to go through. That one's supposed to affect about 30 million people. And then he's also canceling student loans in smaller rounds while doing these other things. There was one that was announced just a few days ago that really didn't get a lot of attention, but that was $6 billion for, I think, 300,000 people who attended a school called the Art Institute. So I think it was like a fraudulent school or something like that. But he forgave their debt. Didn't get a lot of attention, but he's still definitely doing this steady drip, getting headlines about student loan forgiveness.
And there's been some pushback against this.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, basically these people don't have to pay their loans back. Well, what a Republican would tell you is this money doesn't just disappear, right? This is money that was loaned by the government, effectively by taxpayers. If they don't pay it back, that's on you. That's on Joe taxpayer. That's part of the national debt now. This debt has not been repaid. So that's their big thing. The other thing is that he's doing this on his own, no congressional approval. That's really where the lawsuits are coming from. The president cannot do this on his own. He can't spend money. The Constitution is very clear. Only Congress can spend money. So that's the issue on the legal side.
And other versions of this have been rebuffed by the Supreme Court.
Well, yeah. Well, again, the student loans. I mean, there's already been one that they ruled on just last year that Biden can't do this. So he's got different legal justifications. There are things that the Secretary of Education can do. There's some language about things that the Secretary of Education can do regarding student loans. They're saying this allows him to basically, toss the whole student loan out, and Republicans are saying, no, that's not how this works.
Right.
So we'll see what the courts say. But this actually also ties into the protest stuff a little bit, because we're talking about student loans. A lot of these are on, or almost all of them, I guess, are on college campuses involving college students. So you're seeing some Republicans saying, hey, we're forgiving these people student loans, and they're out there, smashing windows and getting in fights with 2x4s and things like that. I know Representative Tom Emmer is one who said anyone who participates in a protest, should not be having their student loans forgiven. So, so the two kind of tie together in that way. Right.
So it ties it all back to the mayhem on campuses, and at the same time, the president wants to help some of these students out.
Yeah, that's those two, I guess, are the big story right now at the White House.
Politics is the art of the possible. Thank you, Haisten. You can read Haisten and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.